I will call the meeting of the Conservation Commission for September 6th to order. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the August 16th.
I'll make that motion.
Moved second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right. The agenda that's posted has 109 Spring Street first. You guys ready? You want to wait? You want to?
Right.
Okay. We've run into a slight glitch on this one.
Okay.
Only because the posting that was on the paper versus the posting that went out to all the residences, I believe, was for the 20th. The paper said the 6th.
Okay.
We can continue without any testimony until the 20th. And officially open it on the 20th.
Okay.
Actually, I'd recommend that you open it tonight without any discussion.
Testimony, and then just continue.
Other than my recommendation, and then
Okay.
continue it till the 20th without any input from the applicant.
So what I'm going to do is I'll read it into record. Under Wetland Protection Act, Chapter 131, Section 40, as Mass General Law, and the West Bridgewater Wetland Protection Bylaw Rules and Regulations, the West Bridgewater Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing September 20th at 6:30 p.m. in the McDonald Brown Conference Room, 65 North Main Street, for a notice of intent filed by Jacob Driscoll Engineering on behalf of Jack Peters for a proposed 6-lot residential subdivision with a common septic system, private drainage facilities at 109 Spring Street. We're open. I can take the green cards, but just so everybody in the audience knows, you guys officially received, I'll take them, notification for a meeting on the 20th. The request we had was to post it in the paper for a meeting tonight, because all of the residents may or may not know that this meeting is taking place because it says it's the 20th. We're not going to hear any testimony, take anything in. We're going to wait and do that all on the 20th so that everybody that got legally notified can be here on that date. That being said, John has reviewed the file, I've reviewed the file, and we are going to recommend a 53G for this project. That being said, I will entertain a motion to request a 53G.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
An outside consultant that is hired on our behalf to review the project. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And that way there we can start the whole process and get this moving forward as it goes along. At that point, so that all the residents don't have to stay and you don't have to stay, we will convene this at 6:30 on the 20th.
Probably should vote to do that.
Entertain a motion to continue.
Oh, we didn't do that?
Moved
Second
and seconded.
that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Zero Walnut Street? Okay, that's here. We will. Under the Wetland Protection Act, Chapter 131, Section 40, Mass General Law is amended, and the West Bridgewater Wetland Protection Act, Wetland Protection Bylaw Rules and Regulations, the West Bridgewater Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing the 6th of September, 6:30 p.m. in the McDonald Brown Conference Room, 65 North Main Street, for notice of intent filed by Silva Engineering Associates on behalf of Michael Heckler to construct a single-family home, septic system, grading within the buffer zone of an approved wetland at 0 Walnut. We're open. Green cards? Yep. Thank you. And we're open, so we were all set.
We have before you here a proposal for a single-family, 4-bedroom dwelling off of Walnut Street. We had the wetlands flagged in the original subdivision for Farm Road. It was issued an ORAD back in 2015. 14, I'm sorry. What we have before you is the only work in the buffer would include the septic system, and everything else was kept outside the 100-foot buffer. We have a conservation easement protecting the 50-foot no-touch, and this is actually in front of the subdivision that was proposed.
Just where exactly is that lot? Where exactly is the lot?
Where is the lot? Well,
Green cats. Get the green cats.
Yes, yep.
water tower, new road, empty space, the lot. So it's
We're
near the
down
water
here.
tower.
We're down.
You were notified because
That's mine.
the original parcel was the whole subdivision. So this is the water tower, and it's only a couple hundred feet north of the water tower, in front of all that work that's going on right now.
And so that is your lot?
That is the lot, correct.
Okay, that's not always. That was a little confusing, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no wetlands here, so no. What happened was, because the original lot came all the way up here, we had to notify all of you. And it's only
There's
just a little bit.
3 forming lots on the front, and then there'll be a road that goes in.
It's gonna be basically
Right. That goes in and around and comes back.
No. The water tower, a couple hundred feet, and there we are.
So this,
It's gonna be a number.
Oh, nice. You too?
Yes.
You know
It's gonna be
Mhm.
I don't think it is.
right now.
They must misunderstand.
Okay, I'm glad.
Thank you.
No problem.
You want to stay?
May I have your name for the record?
Rebecca Baptista.
Thank you.
We always forget that from
oh, that answered those questions. All right.
Maybe,
So
maybe you said
perhaps what you
something.
could do is just explain to the commission members what you did to them, where this lot is located.
Yes, forgive me. Okay, so, we have a subdivision in front of the lot, in the back of the lot. I'm sorry, this is off Walnut Street, so currently there is Farm Road happening. We've had these lots developed. This is in front of it. I came before you with the Farm Road in front of the water tower and this isolated depression. And so what we had to do for the subdivision was, you know, maintain the drainage and whatnot. And then part of the subdivision approval was to protect the 50-foot, even on this lot, was to give you a conservation easement. So this lot already has the 50-foot no-touch conservation easement in place, right over here. And again, the only thing within the septic, within the 100-foot is the septic component.
So the adjacent lot with the wetland is an open space parcel for
This
this
is
subdivision?
an open space parcel of approximately, I have that answer. I have that answer, no, I don't. Nope, I don't have that answer. It's an open space parcel, at least 2 acres, I believe.
It's a good sized piece.
It's a good sized piece. We went through Board of Health, we were approved on Thursday. The comments came back were minor, in fact, and really only included revisions to like the D box. The layout of the D box. So, to keep consistent, I do have revised plans that match what the Board of Health approved.
Would they want revised?
The D box.
The location of it, or?
Location or how?
Well, we
What?
fed it in on the side, and the review preferred it to be fed on the end. So instead of calling out a side inlet
Oh, okay.
D-box,
Yep.
he wanted us to go around the bend. So that was the change that we had made.
So it's really minor.
It was,
Yeah, a
it was
minor.
really minor.
Mhm.
We couldn't get it to you beforehand because it just happened in the long weekend.
Okay, John, you have anything?
I'll take the revised plan.
Please.
All right, thanks. I have no issue with the proposed project there. Staying outside the 50-foot buffer, which we have a conservation easement and will require the conservation easement to also not only be shown on the plan, but describe it in a document as part of the order of conditions for this lot. And so that'll protect that 50-foot buffer from now on. So I'm recommending that you close the public hearing and issue an order of conditions.
Right. Anybody have any other questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Oh, what number is the house gonna be?
I don't know.
It's kinda hard to say 0.
It is 0, yeah. I know it's on Walnut Street.
I've labeled it as map 4, parcel 15C, which is what the assessors have so far, so.
Yeah. They don't issue the addresses until they get the bill.
Yeah, okay.
So. Actually, all of the subdivision has been addressed, so you could have asked me one of those and I could have given it.
Not worried about that one yet.
All right. Motion to close?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. A motion to issue an order of conditions.
I'll make the motion.
I'll motion that.
Seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Collins Engineering, 31 Progressive Ave. Read that into the record. Under the Wetland Protection Act, Chapter 131, Section 40 of Mass General Law as amended, in the West Bridgewater Wetland Protection Bylaw Rules and Regulations, the West Bridgewater Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing the 6th of September 2016 in the McDonald Brown Conference Room, 65 North Main Street, for a notice of intent filed by Collins Civil Engineering on behalf of Richard Woodsock to construct a residential septic system for an existing single-family home within a BVW at 31 Progressive Ave. We're open.
All right, good evening. My name is Dave Quinter from Collins Civil Engineering Group. I'm here on behalf of 31 Progressive Ave for a MOI for a repair to a septic system. Right at Green Park's here.
Those.
So the existing septic system is in the rear of the house. There's a couple of leaching pits. They're hard to see, but they're circles. They're over by the garage. There's a couple of circles for leaching pits. They're going to have to be removed because they will be part of the overdig for the new system. I'll just go over the color coding again. I'm sure you're all familiar with it, but the yellow is the property line. The green is the wetland line that was delineated by Brook Monroe. The orange is the 50-foot, and the pink is the 100-foot. The system is going to go outside the 100. The closest the silt fence will be to the wetland will be 51 feet. The silt fence will go from the corner of the lot surrounding the limit of work as close to 51 feet from the wetlands and out to the garage. Most of the work will come in through either the driveway or the right side as you're looking at the house, or the north side through the lawn. There is a dead tree here that's will probably be about 5 feet off the silt fence. We're proposing to take that down. It is pretty dead. And
Roots and everything?
Yeah, roots and everything. I think, well, I'm not sure. They might just grind it. They might just grind it once
Stump
they
it.
take it down.
On the stump.
Yeah. So that's proposed in this project. The system itself, it's going to be just a slightly mounted system. You can see that there's a 48 here coming right through the middle of the system. The top of the system will be 50. As you get closer to the house, it will only be a 1-foot mount, but as you get further to the back of the yard, it's a little bit more mounted. The system has been approved by Board of Health. I talked to Lorraine, our office manager, today, and she informed me that the Board of Health had no comments and that they were approving it, or had approved it.
There's no need for a wall or anything against the property line?
No, there's, it goes down to 48, and then actually on the other side, it picks up again, so there's kind of a, valley.
Kind of a tight spot, not much
Very
to
tight.
work with.
We actually asked for a 40% reduction on the septic system just to fit it in. We used the low crowd quick force. So
It's just gonna be grassed over?
grassed over, yeah. It's all lawn back there.
Is that house being sold or just
I don't know if
failed?
it's being sold. I just know that the septic system is a failure. So.
Was it, would you say it was a test pit? I mean, leaching field or?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're leaching pits right here.
leaching
They're
pit?
small circles,
Okay,
very small,
so it's an old system then?
old system.
John?
It's going to be a major improvement, considering that the existing is probably in the water table out there, and it's in the existing yard, and they're holding it back away from the 50-foot buffer, so as much as they can. So I'm recommending that you approve it, and you can close the public hearing and issue.
Anybody have any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
I'll make the motion.
Second it.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. I'll entertain a motion to issue an order of conditions.
I'll make the motion. I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
.279 Pleasant Street. Moving right along. Read this one into the record. Under the Wetland Protection Act, Chapter 131, Section 40 of Mass General Law is amended, and the West Bridgewater Wetland Protection Bylaw, Rules and Regulations. The Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing September 6, 2016, in the McDonald Brown Conference Room, 65 North Main Street, for a request for determination of applicability filed by Lightship Engineering on behalf of GNS Realty Company for a subsurface sewage disposal system upgrade on a commercial building within an existing paved parking lot and the removal of an existing utility pole or poles within the 100-foot buffer at 279 Pleasant Street. We're open. I have green cards. Yes.
Good evening. For the record, Niall Zager from Zenith Consulting Engineers. We're here before you for the repair of a septic system. Currently, the existing septic system is in the parking lot. So this is the existing warehouse building here. It's a warehouse building that actually supplies granite. I don't know if any of you are familiar
Is
with
that the one on the corner?
corner of South Elm, correct. South Elm and, on Pleasant Street. So they supply granite. The current system right now is leaching pits that are in the water table. The soil out there is horrendous. So we're working with what we have, but it was in the parking lot. We went out there and dug test pits and found what we expected: horrendous soil with not great water table, with a high water table. What we're proposing to do is pull the septic system that is currently in the parking lot further away from where the resource area is. We sat down with our agent, John, Mr. Delano, and discussed the process with him and what would be the best way to go about this. Because we're technically not within, in our opinion, we're not within the resource area, but because there's drainage basins, there's stormwater basins surrounding the parking lot, and there is a BVW which would be the easterly portion of the property. We did discuss it, and we decided that the best route to go would be to go with an RDA, just because there's it is in a pretty busy area, just in case anybody asked any questions. So what we're proposing to do is, there's an existing landscaped area right over here. This is the main entrance to the office, not office, but to the warehouse. There's a landscape island here. What we're looking to do is expand that landscape island, put the septic system within it, and then just build, expand saw cut the pavement out and push the parking spaces a little bit further away. What this will do is push everything further away from the resource area that's currently there. The existing system will be abandoned, and left, just left in place, filled in with sand or whatever whatever the Board of Health would see fit. The other portion of this project that we are actually filing for is, and Brian from Lakeship Engineering can go through this a little bit further with you, but there's some utility poles on site that they did an assessment on. He can get into a little bit further detail on that, so I'll let him take the floor.
My name is Brian Masson with Lakeship Engineering. We did an environmental due diligence assessment on this property a while back, and through that we found this area where sections of utility poles, about 100 to 150 3-foot sections, had been kind of disposed there. It looked like it happened a long time ago, 20, 30 years ago. So we did an assessment, collected some soil around it, some groundwater around it with hand tools. Groundwater is very shallow out there. Determined that it was a reportable condition with the MCP for 120-day reporting. We did a method 3 risk assessment, determined that no soil needs to be removed, can stay as is, but we'd like to get the section of utility poles out. The utility poles are right over here. So it's close to the wetland, it's within the buffer, but it's not within the wetland themselves, these poles. So we're proposing to go out there and manually remove these sections of poles. So there would be, some minimal brush clearing. There's a little path right up here that brings you down to where this disposal area is. There'd be some minimal brush clearing with hand tools. They were going to lay plywood down on the ground and put 2x4 as kind of like stairs, and just manually walk the poles up and down.
How many of them?
We estimated about 100 to 150 3-foot sections.
Just dumped there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it could probably happen, maybe prior to development, because they're in there pretty good. It's a pretty good sized pile, but we want to get them out so they don't continue to leach off and affect the resource area that's there. So that's
That business is, the building's been there for a while.
Oh yeah.
Has that business, how long has the business been there? The
I want
granite?
to say it's been there for at least 20 years.
Has it been that
The
long?
building. I don't know about the granite works, how long they've been there, but the building itself's been there
Oh,
for about
yeah,
20
I see
years.
the-
I'll say 80.
Yeah, they did a filing way back, when the building was built, to do the parking and the stormwater detention basin up there by the corner
Yeah.
of the two streets.
So 93 maybe?
I recollect it was
Is
about
that when the
that
building was built, or was that when the granite,
built.
that was
When it was
when it
built.
was built, okay.
Yeah. So the poles are pretty deteriorated, rotted, so I think it looks like they've been there for a while.
Well, getting them removed is not a bad thing, so.
Yeah, especially if they did an assessment and the risk is really negligible, but they want to get them out of there, so
All right.
I think it's an improvement.
John, do you have anything else?
I don't, and I'm recommending a -3, so that they don't have to file a notice of intent, but can do the work with some minimal controls that will ask for them.
All right. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, where would you take the poles?
We're actually going to take them, there's a recycling facility in Taunton. So we're going to have a roll-off container brought, put it in the parking lot, and just stack them in there. Then they take them, they grind them up, and they use them for fuel.
Okay.
Either that or.
You stick them in there, but yet they'll grind them up and put it in for fill.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think you said fuel.
Fuel.
Oh, fuel, oh,
Yeah,
I thought it
Yeah.
meant film, my God, that makes a lot of sense.
No, yeah, they
For
recycle
fuel,
them,
okay.
right, for fuel.
Then they're burning it, so.
All right. Without any other questions, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And I will entertain a motion to issue a -3 determination.
I'll make the motion.
Second
Moved.
that.
Seconded?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
So moved. Thank you. Thanks for finding those and cleaning them up, too. I believe we have 2 items for Collins that's here.
Yep. Certificate of compliances.
You want to do the
North Elm.
North Elm Street first?
The North Elm Street and West Center Street is the one that was notoriously called the billboard site, where a single-family home was first proposed, but then they did a revised plan and put in for a duplex. Part of the order of conditions was to require a 3-foot high post and rail fence, PVC post and rail fence along the wetland line. Subsequent to the issuing of the order of conditions, the commission voted to allow a modification of the fencing type to be just PVC pipes, 2-inch diameter PVC pipes every 10 feet along the wetland line without the rail installed. And so I went out and inspected it, and the contractor has randomly placed PVC pipes with our regular signs on it, just kind of wherever I think he decided he wanted them to go. So that's not in compliance with the order of conditions, so I'm recommending that you not issue a certificate of compliance, and I'll write him a letter explaining why. And in addition to that, he was required to plant some shrubberies to enhance the buffer because there was no buffer there. He has planted them, but because of the dryness, they look a little iffy in terms of whether they'll survive through the winter and germinate next spring. So and somebody's already living there, so I presume they've already passed papers. So I'm recommending a $1,500 cash bond to be deposited with the treasurer once a certificate is issued. So I'll let him know that ahead of time as part of this letter, but I'm not recommending that you issue a certificate because of the improper marking of the wetland line. So I'm recommending a motion to deny the COC.
No, if he just put the PVC in the right spots, then we could have issued him the.
Right.
I got it all written down. I'm actually not here for that, but
Right, considering we gave them on the split, the post and rail fence, I mean, I'll entertain a motion to the deny request. You want to make the motion?
I'll make that motion.
A second?
Second it.
Moving second, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And then we have
On Manley Street?
Manley Street.
This one was for the tractor trailer storage yard. There was actually 2 different DEP file numbers up there. And the request, I believe, is for the tractor trailer storage yard. Is that correct?
that's correct.
And as part of the approval, there was some historic filling to be done, or had been done by the previous owner, a contractor that once owned the property. And as part of the approval, they were to remove that historic filling and create a restored wetland. They had hired Sebacia, Robert Gray, to do the planning of the planting for this area. And they planted it late last year. And so he did an assessment in the spring and sometime around May. And I went out today and checked it, and it is functioning as a wetland. There's no doubt about that. It was pretty dry, though. We've been in a very dry period, so obviously it's not as pictured in the May photographs that the wetland scientists submitted. You'll note that there were areas of standing water in May, and today it's caked,
And then the drought hit.
caked mud, cracked with looks like Death Valley look to it. But the vegetation is lush, it's growing, so apparently there's enough water just below the surface to provide the roots with plenty of water. So rather than putting them through another growing season, because it's obvious it had lasted through the winter, it grew through the spring and early summer, and is surviving through the drought, that I'm recommending just issue the certificate of compliance and not make them go back next fall and do next spring and do another assessment. So I'm recommending issue the certificate and close it out.
Right, and the other note is that we need another fee collected for that.
Oh, yes, prior
Because
to
of the time
giving
lapse.
them the certificate. The fee is $150 for the certificate of compliance because it's a commercial site and is late in requesting the certificate. It's over 2 years.
All right. Anybody have any questions?
So did I say 150?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to issue a certificate.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you. I'll talk to Mr. Wilkowski, and I'm sure John will too, and get that fee over to you as soon as we can.
And John, I think in your report, we just have number 7 and 8 left?
Yep. For item number 7, 4 Woodrow Lane, the developer had requested a certificate of compliance for a single-family home that was built out on Woodrow Lane. At the time, there was no grass growing. They were still watering it when he requested the certificate. And it had just been loamed and seeded. So we took a $1,500 cash bond, and it's been a couple of years now, and so they finally remembered they had deposited the bond with us, and they're asking for it back. So I checked it out and knew it was going to be all right, but it's growing more than sufficient, and so I'm recommending releasing the cash bond of $1,500.
I would have taken that back a long time ago.
Yeah. I'll entertain a motion to release the bond.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
I have a paper for you to sign, and because we don't have any line item for this, I want you to sign both forms, so that then we will figure out which one they will take for this.
Gotcha. And number 8?
Number 8, the developer came in to get a building permit for lot 3, number 3, BC Way, and I noticed that they had a different plan that they were using for the building permit than what we had approved. And so I asked them to give me a copy of the most recent revised plan and a letter from their engineer explaining the change and that it should be requested from the commission that it be considered a minor project change. So they wrote the letter They indicated that it's a different size of the footprint for the house. It's slightly smaller and a little closer to the street, and that the limit of the work area is no different on the most recent revision than was on the approved plan. So keeping that in mind, that would mean that there was no difference in impact to the wetland than what we originally approved. So I'm recommending a minor project change and not require them to refile a notice of intent.
Any discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to consider it a minor project change.
Make the motion.
Second that.
Moving second, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
And that is it for me.
I'll give these back to Kitty.
I do have some sheets to sign. There'll be 2 orders of conditions for the 2 hearings that we closed tonight for Walnut Street and Progressive. And then there's the determination of applicability for Pleasant Street and the certificate of compliance for Manley Street.
And do we have 53G we might be thinking of using for
I'm thinking,
Spring Street?
thinking of the same 53G that the planning board has been using lately. His name is Nick Laney, and he's reviewed for the planning board. So I would assume that if he reviews for this one, that it may suffice for the planning board when they start to review it.
Okay.
So it ultimately could save the applicant some money unless, of course, the planning board decides to have someone else.
And have you heard how we've made out with the Attorney General on our town bylaws?
They expect somewhere around September 23rd to have a final.
Okay.
That would be the kind of the deadline that the Attorney General has.
Has
so-
to make a decision by,
Yeah.
okay. And other than that, I don't have, yes.
There is, Nuckatasset Greenway Committee has a grant ready for some of the needs that you will have on that site, River Street site. When that is,
Finally pushed through.
when it comes to the front of our business here. So that's pretty good, that there's already some money there, a little one, a little
Well,
bit.
it's matching funds or a starter kit or,
Yep.
There is one thing I forgot to mention, that this Sunday is Park Day, and that the Open Space Committee and Conservation Commission jointly will have a booth at the Park Day event. It will primarily be an exhibit of some of the flyers that we have and some of the pictures of open space land that we have, and a couple of other surprises, little contests for the kids and things that we'll discuss with the Open Space Committee on Thursday night. So if anybody's interested in the general viewing audience out there, please come and stop by our booth. We'll be somewhere near the bridge.
Nicely fitted, right? Right on the water.
Sunday, what time, John?
I
I think was it
should know, but it's roughly 10 to 4.
5, 4, something like
yeah.
that.
Memorial Park?
Yes. Yep.
I think it's gonna be a nice day, I think, too. I think it's gonna be a nice day.
Yeah, it looks as if it might
Looks
be,
like so
yes.
far.
Even though we'll take the rain if we get it.
Well, if we can get rain before that, we can get the river up a little bit.
Right,
Make it
that would
look
be
good.
nice.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Anybody have anything else? not, then I will entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second that.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. We're done.